Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video, and today I'm going over my NFL Power Rankings for 2021. I haven't done a Power Rankings video in a few weeks. The last one I did was for the championship games where I ranked the Bucs, Chiefs, Packers, and Bills. And now that the Super Bowl has finished, I am doing my my real way too early prediction for 2021. We haven't seen the draft, we haven't seen any trades yet. But this is where I think a lot of the teams will be standing by the time we reach the beginning of the 2021 season. Before we get into this video, though, I just want to say only about 14% of you are subscribed. So if you enjoy my content and you want to see more content like it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free and you can always unsubscribe. So with that, let's get right into the video. The first category I have for this video is more of the same. We have the Jets, we have the Texans, we have the Panthers, and we have the Giants. I think that out of these four teams, these are the ones that have the lowest chance of improvement for next season. I think that the Jets, although they're going to be getting a new quarterback, I don't see them doing much. They're not getting Trevor Lawrence, and their team is not fit to accommodate a new quarterback very well. That's one of the reasons why I don't think Sam Darnold succeeded. If they keep Sam Darnold, then they're just going to be the worst team in the league. But if they don't keep Sam Darnold and they get a new quarterback in the draft, I don't think that they're going to do much anyways. If Houston at 31, they're losing Deshaun Watson. They already lost Hopkins. They might be losing J.J. Watt. I don't know if he wants to go somewhere else, but the Texans are falling apart. They were bad with Deshaun Watson getting 5,000 yards. Never mind without Deshaun Watson. So the Texans are at 31. I have the Panthers at 30. And I know Christian McCaffrey was injured this year, but they just weren't working together. The Panthers just weren't a great... they started off very strong. I think they started off 4-3. They ended off 6-10. I mean, if you're 2-7, you're trending in the wrong direction. And I just can't see the Panthers getting much better than 6-10 next year. I think that they'll probably regress to 5-11 or 4-12. And I have the Giants at 29, rounding off more of the same. The New York Giants are an enigma, and Daniel Jones is at quarterback. Daniel Jones went 3-9 and then 5-9. Their team went 4-12 and then 6-10, and I just don't see him improving. He hasn't improved. He actually got worse from his rookie season to his second year. They just won more games out of it because the defense got better, and I don't think that they're going to be doing anything. I don't think that he improved enough. And I don't think he will be able to improve enough to make any significant differences to that team. Breakout quarterbacks. That's what the next category is called, because I don't know what these quarterbacks are doing, but they might have these teams are doing, but their quarterbacks might do something. Drew Lock had a terrible season. The Broncos have an amazing defense, but without Drew Lock improving, I don't see them doing a whole lot. In 27, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles had a very bad season. Their defense is terrible. Their offensive weapons aren't great. And they don't know who their quarterback is. Whether it's Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts. Neither of them had phenomenal seasons. Jalen Hurts looked good in a couple of games, but he was still 1-2. So although the Eagles were trending in the right direction at the end of the season, I guess you could say, I don't see them doing much better than this year. Jacksonville and Detroit, though, can make some major improvements. Trevor Lawrence is the first pick of the draft. I think the Jacksonville, unlike the Jets, have the tools on their team to make a good team. They don't have a good team, but they have the tools to make one. The Jets don't. The Jets roster is not good, and it can't be good. So I think that, and also they're not getting Trevor Lawrence. So I think that Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars team have potential to be good. And at 25, we have the Detroit Lions. The Lions have been a fairly solid team for a very long time. They just haven't been able to get anything going. And I don't frankly think that Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff are considered better than the other one. I think that Jared Goff is very similar to Matthew Stafford in the way he plays. His stats are very similar. He has a higher winning percentage, but he's also had a #1 defense. So you could say that Jared Goff is going to come into Detroit and change the whole franchise around. I don't think so. I think Detroit will be a subpar, average team that doesn't make the playoffs. I think they'll probably go 6-10, maybe 7-9. On offense, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, the Atlanta Falcons, the Los Angeles Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Minnesota Vikings. These teams have an offense, but their defense decided to take a vacation and never come back. The Bengals have had a terrible defense for a very long time. That's one of the reasons why Andy Dalton couldn't succeed. He also wasn't a great quarterback, but that's one of the reasons why he couldn't succeed. And that's another reason why Joe Burrow had issues starting his first year in the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons, their defense hasn't existed in like 20 years. Matt Ryan has actually never had a defense. He's just played offense and hoped the other team didn't score against nobody. So Matt Ryan, kudos to him. He has never had a defense before. So unless they can somehow find one, I don't see them being much better. The Raiders, they started off 5-2. They ended up 8-8. So they started off 5-2. They ended off 3-5. I mean, it's not as drastic as the Panthers, but it's still not a great showing. The Raiders have a lot to improve, and Derek Carr is not their guy. A lot of Raiders fans love Derek Carr. I don't see that. He's not a good quarterback. He doesn't win games. His stats aren't great. This is his first good season of his career, and a second good season of his career, and he went 8-8. So I just don't see it. I don't think Derek Carr is good enough to make playoffs again, and the Raiders need a defense. And I have the Vikings at number 21, the highest in this category, because I do think that they have the greatest potential to have a good defense. Their offense might not be the best on this list. Actually, no, scratch that. Their offense is by far the best on this list. They just need a defense. They don't have one, and I don't know where they're going to get one, but they had one a couple years ago when they made the NFC Championship game. It never came back. Now, in contrast, we have defense. Those are the offensive teams. These are the defensive teams. We have the Washington football team. We have the Chicago Bears. We have the Indianapolis Colts, and we have the New England Patriots. All four of these teams, I think, are exactly even in their skill levels and abilities. I have the defensive teams ahead of the offensive teams, though, because as we saw last night, defense wins championships. Washington has a new quarterback that was playing in the earlier in the playoffs this year. I'm so sorry, I completely forgot his name. Tyler Heineke. Yeah, he played. Taylor Heineke, sorry. He played well against the Buccaneers defense. He played better than Mahomes did. But they're deep. But these four teams are absent of an offense. They need a defense. The Colts don't know who their quarterback is. The Patriots don't know who their quarterback is. Mitch Trubisky won a lot of games this year. He had a good winning percentage this year, but I don't know if that's sustainable. He's had a lot of good luck based off of his team's defense in his career, making the playoffs not because of his own statistics, but because of his defensive dominance. So yeah, these teams, any one of them could make the playoffs, but I don't think that any of them are extremely above average. And especially the Patriots, we need a quarterback. I mean, we went 7-9 with Cam Newton, who had an 8-10 touchdown interception ratio. He had 8 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. But as long as our offense is any better than it was last year, we should be able to go 8-8. But and that should not be hard. Our offense should be better than last year. It shouldn't be hard for our offense to not get worse. Our next category is playoff contenders, and these teams all, for whatever reason, didn't make the playoffs this year, and I think that any one of them has a solid chance to make the playoffs this next coming year. I think that there's a massive talent difference between the offensive and defensive teams versus these more complete playoff contenders that have strong offenses and strong defenses. We have the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Miami Dolphins. The Cardinals, first of all, they went 8-8. They were much like the Raiders. They started off very strong, and then they regressed. I think that they have more potential than the Raiders do, because I think that Kyler Murray is a much better quarterback than Derek Carr. They have better offensive weapons. Their defense has a little bit more potential. I just think that the Cardinals are overall a very much better team than the Raiders are. And I think that they'll probably go 9-7 or 10-6 this year if their defense can step it up a little bit, but we will see. As for the 49ers, they were injured the whole season. I would have them higher, but they did go 5-11. Their entire team was injured for the entire year. Jimmy Garoppolo was injured for at least half the season. He might not even come back. They might be going searching for someone else. But San Francisco was in the Super Bowl, and then last year their entire team got injured. And you can't really mark them down for their team getting injured. So I'm putting them back where they should be. Number 15. I think that they could go anywhere from 7-9 to 12-4. That's their range. They have the lowest floor and the highest ceiling, I think, of it. Not the lowest floor, but they have one of the biggest ranges of any NFL team. They could go anywhere from 7-9 to 12-4, and I think that the 49ers could have a very good team. They could be mediocre, but they could have a very good one. Chargers at 14. Justin Herbert had he had the best rookie season of all time. Justin Herbert had the best rookie season for a quarterback of all time. They didn't make the playoffs, but that wasn't his fault. He played his heart out. He played good enough to be in the playoffs than any other team. The defense didn't play well, but as the defense got better, the team did well. They started off, I think, 1-6, and they ended up 7-9. He won like 6 of his last 9 games, and I think that trend will continue. I think that they'll probably go 10-6, maybe 11-5 next year. I think the Chargers are going to be another team to beat in the AFC West. And at number 13, we have the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are a weird team. They were much like the Cardinals, where they started off very strong, then they regressed, then they tried to catch back up, but just too little too late. And I don't think the Dolphins have quite enough to make the playoffs next year, but Brian Flores is an amazing coach, and he can definitely make it happen. Potential to be strong. We have all the teams that are major, that made the playoffs or were close to it, and are major question marks. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 13. We have the Dallas Cowboys at 12. The Cleveland Browns at 11, and the New Orleans Saints at 10. Everyone should be disagreeing with me about the Cowboys. I think that a lot of people don't think the Cowboys are a very strong team. I do. I think that Dak Prescott will go 10-6 this year. I think that he could go 11-5 or 12-4 if they have a defense. But alone, I think Dak Prescott will go 10-6. He will definitely win the NFC East. There's no question who's winning the NFC East. It's going to be Cowboys. And I have them at number 12. At number 13, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers started off this year 14-0. They ended off this year, not 14-0. They started off the season 12-0. They ended up like 1-6 to end off the season, or 1-5 to end off the season. It was pathetic. It was a sad way to end a season for any NFL team. The Steelers, I think they're going to keep that kind of momentum, but they're still going to do well. I think they'll probably get 11 wins. Ben Roethlisberger has never had a losing season in his career. I don't think he's going to start now. The Cleveland Browns, I have at 11. Baker Mayfield is just starting. I think that he's going to get better and better. Their defense is starting to mesh. Their defense will get better and better. Cleveland is a strong contender for 2021. And the Saints, I mean, their record without Drew Brees in the last 2 years is incredibly good. I mean, a lot of people think that without Drew Brees, the Saints are going to fall off a cliff, but I don't think so. I really don't. I think that the Saints have the weapons, and they have the team for Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston to succeed very well. This brings us to the next category of major 2021 contenders. We have the Los Angeles Rams at 8, we have the Tennessee Titans at 7, we have the Seattle Seahawks at 6, and we have the Baltimore Ravens at 5. The Rams made it to the divisional round in the playoffs this year, so did the Ravens. Seahawks and Titans both lost in the wild card, losing to the Rams and the Ravens. I think that the Ravens definitely have the strongest team here. They have the most complete team. Their defense is phenomenal, and their offense has its ups and downs, but it's a pretty solid offense overall. They have one of the best rushing games, if not the best rushing game in NFL history. And Lamar Jackson, although he doesn't throw a lot, when he throws well. And if you have a top running game, a top defense, and a above average passing game, you're going to be a good team. And the Ravens are a good team. They have a very strong chance at making something great happen next year. And I was skeptical of Lamar after He went 0-2 in the playoffs in his first couple of games, but he won a couple of playoff games this year. You have to commend him for that. I think that he has a very good chance to do well. Or he won a playoff game. He didn't win a couple. At number 6, we have the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks defense started off this season terribly. Their offense started off amazing. As the season went on, the defense got better and better and better. The offense got worse and worse and worse. By the time we got to the playoff game, their offense was not playing well at all. I think that they just need to refresh, they need to restart, they needed to get back together after coronavirus, and I think that the Seahawks will have a very strong team in 2021. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans. The Titans were a little disappointment this year, I think. I thought they're going to do a lot better. I've been rooting for Derrick Henry. I think that he's a phenomenal player to watch. Their defense, though, they had one of the worst defenses in NFL history to make the playoffs. If they want an actual shot at making the Super Bowl, they need to improve that defense. It was one of the worst in the NFL. And Tennessee, they have the best. I think the Tennessee Titans have the best offense in the NFL, but they need to improve their defense to have a chance of doing anything. And at number 8, we have the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams beat the Seahawks in the wild card round of the playoffs, but I don't see them being as good next year. Not because Jared Goff is better than Matthew Stafford, but because your defense was number 1. That means that it's a very small chance they can improve. They'll probably regress at least a little. And on offense, you have a brand new quarterback in a brand new system with a brand new team. Some of your players might leave. And I just think that the Rams have a very strong team, but they might not be as strong next year as they were this year. I still think that they can make the division run. They can have a very good year. I just don't know how good of a team they are compared to some of the other teams in the top 10. Last but not least, we have the championship teams. And the championship teams, I mean, they're just on a different level than the rest of the NFL. The Buffalo Bills are at number 4. The Bills have a fantastic offense. Their defense needs to improve. They had a really good defense in 2019, but when their offense made its major jump, their defense took a major step back. And I think they need to find that perfect balance next year in order for their team to be great. They have a great team already, but in order to win a Super Bowl, they need to find that balance where their defense is right on the line of being a top defense in the NFL. At number 3, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City beat Buffalo in the divisional round by more than I expected them to. I thought it would be a one-score game. But Kansas City I was not impressed this year. I wasn't. They made the Super Bowl, but I thought that their team was going to look more dominant if they made the Super Bowl. They won 8 games in a row by 1 score or less. It was a new NFL record. The most consecutive wins without a 2-point score was 8. And they had a great season, but they need a defense if they want to win if they want to win in the playoffs. And they won the Super Bowl with a very strong defense, but their defense took a step back, and it showed last night. And they need an offensive line. They need their offensive line back. A lot of last night's game was their offensive line not being in there, but still, they just got ravaged. And I think that without a defense to complement Patrick Mahomes and his phenomenal playing ability, you can't have that championship team back. They had that defense last year, but they need to get it back in order to get another one. So Kansas City, phenomenal team. They're number 3. At number 2, we have the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, I was saying they were the best team in the league for the entirety of the playoffs. For the last 4 weeks of the season, I was Packers. But when it came down to it, I picked the Bucs over the Packers in the game because you can't bet against Brady. And the Green Bay Packers, they have the second best offense in the NFL, second only to Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans. And Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback. He is the best player in the NFL. He won the MVP. He is the best player. Devontae Adams is phenomenal. Aaron Jones is phenomenal. That defense is phenomenal. The Packers team is flawless. And there is no other team in the NFL that I would pick head-to-head over the Packers anytime, any day with the current teams right now, except for one. The Packers are the second best team in the NFL, and if they were in the if they were in the AFC, or if Brady was in the AFC, then the Packers would have been in the Super Bowl. Speaking of Brady, he is number 1. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl last night. They shocked everyone except for people that lived in New England, because we all knew it would happen. I'm just saying, like, great for him. I wish he won it with us, but you can't bet against playoff Tom Brady. You can't bet against Tom Brady, period. But playoff Tom Brady is just a different machine. Patrick Mahomes is 6-0 in the playoffs when not playing Tom Brady. He's 0-2 against Tom Brady. Tom Brady did something that no other NFL player has ever done. What he did was he went to a team. He said, I want you, you, and you. He got Gronk, Antonio Brown, and Leonard Fournette. He brought them all in. He brought them to the Super Bowl. And every single point scored in that Super Bowl was from a player who was not on the team last season. That's incredible. And he is the greatest quarterback of all time. And that defense, that Tampa Bay defense, got better and better and better and better and better. They started off slightly above average. They got better. They got better every single week. Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, Devin White, and Jason Pierre-Paul. Those linebackers wreak havoc on anything they touch. The Buccaneers were the Super Bowl champions. I was thinking it was going to happen. I didn't think it would be as dramatic of a win as it was, but Tampa deserved that one. So, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment down below where you think each of these teams land. And let's move on to 2021. I'm excited for more content and more videos with you guys. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.